I have a Panasonic buffer board that was physically damaged by the customer. Otherwise, the board is supposed to be fully functional. And while removing the connector, one of the adapters on the buffer board ripped off the board. And if we're taking a look at the connector versus the buffer board pads, it looks like a really clean break. All of the solder that was used to solder the connector is 100% on the connector itself and no longer on the board at all. One of the things we're going to do to make sure there's no damage to the board is a continuity test. So for example, looking at our ground here, we're going to make sure it is shorted. So in beep mode, yep, and to the pad over here. Now checking this one, we're getting continuity here as well, and here as well. These are no connects, and then this one is our last one. Let's see, where does it go? It goes, looks to be over here. Yep, so we're good. So let's go ahead and clean up the connector of the old solder, and we'll put some fresh solder everywhere. So I'm just gonna use some desolder wick to get rid of the original solder. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, and we have our last large pad. Perfect. I'm gonna start by adding just a little bit of solder to one of the pads on the board, just to tin it. And then we'll slide this onto there. Kind of getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna desolder it again. And what I wanna do actually is gonna be tin the other pads, because I wanna make sure this doesn't happen again. And I wanna make sure that the pads are getting the proper amount of heat and solder, because it seems that that was not the case originally. All right, and now that I have all of that, I'm just gonna remove the excess. Do a quick little cleanup of all that flux. But now at least we have properly tinned pads, so it's gonna be a little easier for me to ensure we have good connection between the connector and the board itself. All right, let's try that again. So again, we'll try to line it up as closely as possible. And there's a little angle, so let me adjust a bit. Okay. All right, that looks good. We'll try again. I can lift the whole board just by the connector, so we definitely have good connection and contact. Let's try soldering again now. And finally, our last pad. All right, let's do one last check. Actually, I'm gonna clean up here. We have a little bit of a solder horn. All right, that looks better. Actually, we'll clean up real quick, and then we're going to check with the dental tool to make sure all the pins are properly soldered down. Okay, so I'm pushing on each one of these pins, and so far I can't get them to move. So that means they're properly connected. Check the other side. We'll do the same thing. And yep, they're all soldered in properly. So we're all set here. I guess we can do one more multimeter check. Well, actually, yeah, we can do one more multimeter check. Same thing, continuity mode, and when we get a beep, that means we have a short. So let's check to see if this pin has a short, and it does. Let's see if this one, and it does. Over here, I believe both of these, yep. And then finally over here, this one and this one should have a short. And lastly, if we do this contact point and the very last pin. Yep, so everything's connected. So we're all set. We're going to go ahead and send it back out to the customer. If you found the video helpful or useful, leave us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.